minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Seconds till broadcast. Five, four, three, two, one. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
You're darn right it is. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Great to have you today on a Monday. I don't say that in a bad light. I love Monday. It's a great way to start the week. It's a fresh new start. You get to see the vision for the week. You get to get things done. You get the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to take the reins, and do my thing. However, today's been funky. Today's been an odd day. Today's had some technical issues. Today's just been a wonky day. I don't know. The moon in the weird direction. It's just dreary and rainy. I don't know what the deal is, but it's a Monday. I'm going to still say it's a good Monday. You're past it, hopefully. If not, then you're just starting it. Welcome in, no matter where you may be. Broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in the heartland of America on the flagship station of the Big Talker KQAM as we broadcast all over numerous radio, TV, online streaming with the Facebook Live, the YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, on the website at HoosierReason.com. No matter where you may be listening, the downloading of the podcast, which we've been killing it on the podcast downloads. We appreciate that very much, and boy, do we have a heck of a show lined up for you today. Whatever may gone through today and whatever craziness you may have had to go through today, it's done, it's over, and let's hit that reset button, and let's have a little fun on the program today. What do you say? We have John Kasich. You remember that guy? Oh, come on. Is it going to play? Maybe it'll play. Oh, there it is. Yeah, all right. Actually, this one's probably more appropriate. So John Kasich came out, and apparently he's going to be speaking at the Democrat National Convention. I know. Now, he's technically a registered Republican from the great state of Ohio, and he was the former governor there, and he challenged Donald Trump as the alternative to the moderate, and he had talked about running for president with John Hickenlooper, the former governor of Colorado, a Democrat, to be able to do together with the Republican and the Democrat mushing together to bring everybody in happy harmony, unison, and all this other stuff. He is a contributor to CNN, so we already knew where he stood, but the fact that he's speaking at the Democrat National Convention kind of confirms that, so we'll have some fun with that here in just a little bit. But and that goes into kind of with our guest as well. And we talked about this on Friday because there was a couple comments throughout the social media threads as we were doing the show about individuals that said they were conservative that just absolutely 100% despised Donald Trump. That he is the most evil, horrible human being in the world with his past and what he's done, the things that he said, and that he's not conservative and he hasn't done conservative things. And it was really awesome that we had that thread of conversation going on Friday last week, because we already had our guest lined up for today, and it's the perfect person to talk about that. Talk about whether they are going to be the upset of this election, whether they're going to be relevant in this election, and how we were able to overcome and the unity, hopefully, of the Republican Party moving forward with a Donald Trump presidency. She is the author of the book Disloyal Opposition, how the Never Trump right tried and failed to take down the president. Right? Something to think about there. She is also, by the way, a senior contributor to American Greatness, and she's written many times for the Federalist, National Review, The Hill, and the Wall Street Journal. I'm excited to have on the program Julie Kelly with us today. Julie, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you coming on the show very much. Let's start off with the disloyal opposition. Now, one thing that I pride the Republican Party on, that I love, is that we have pretty vicious primaries. In any race, whether it's a national election or a local election, we have vicious primaries. We beat each other up, but I see that as a way to evolve our ideas, to challenge each other on ideas, for us to evolve and be able to move forward. I love that concept of very brutal primary. Democrats don't do that. However, one thing we're not very good at is afterwards, we don't tend to unite as well, because we have some that are so 100% for their candidate or 100% against a candidate that at the end of the brutal primary, we can't pat each other on the back, unite, and say, you know, we're the family, we're the Italian family where we yell and scream at each other, but if you mess with us from the outside, then we're one big unit and you're not going to mess with us. Why can't we do that very well as Republicans?
Well, I think some Republicans can do that, but I don't think Trumpers are really part of a Republican Party. I think they're more like the lonely kid who has been kind of ignored by parents, and the other siblings don't want anything to do with them, so they act out and keep having all these temper tantrums trying to get attention to themselves. So that's more what these Never Trumpers are like.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bitter man. He's floundering, flailing around in terms of his policies. He's odd man out. He doesn't have a chance to run for president again. I don't know what office he would run for. And Donald Trump really exposed all these people for who they really are. And some of them are being paid very well to pretend to be Republicans and conservatives opposed to the president. So there's a lot of different moving parts here. But I think that these Never Trump Republicans.
Oh, I think we lost her. Kelly, are you there?
I am. I can hear you, but you've been super choppy.
Okay, yeah, you're a little choppy on that end as well, so I don't know if it's on your end or it's probably ours, because we've had some difficulty with ours for a little bit. So no, that's all right. But let me try and ask you, with the Republicans that are the Never Trumpers, the opposition to Donald Trump, I've heard both. I've heard the quote-unquote extreme moderates, the rhinos. I mean, we had John McCain that was an absolute never-Trumper, John Kasich now that is an absolute never-Trumper, that are very much on the moderate, wishy-washy side of the aisle. But then I've heard from a few of the extreme, I guess, ideologues of the conservatives, of the firebrands. If you're not, like, you know, the Ted Cruz, all about the Constitution, then you're not with us either. Which side is a bigger concern for unity of the Republican Party? Is it the moderate John Kasich side of it, or is it the radical, I don't want to call them radical because conservatives really aren't radical, but the purists of the conservative mindset of, if you don't follow the Constitution to a T and you cut every tax or cut every regulation, then you're not with us? Which side's more of a danger?
I'm not. I would probably guess the McCain moderates, because they really don't stand for much, and most of them, to the extent that they are at all relevant, are siding with the Democrats, just like John McCain did before he passed away.
Yeah. No, it's true. Are they going to be an issue with this upcoming election?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, you see these different Never Trump nonprofits, like the Lincoln Project, which has been getting a lot of attention the past few weeks. They're raising a lot of money from Democrats, and they are planning to spend it in swing states, trying to persuade, I guess, Republicans or independents on the fence that a lot of Republicans are going to vote against Donald Trump and vote for Joe Biden, which, of course, isn't the case. I don't know one Republican who's planning to vote for Joe Biden. But I really catalog this specific movement, Never Trump. And so these are people like Bill Kristol, who was writers like Joan Goldberg, David French, Jennifer Rubin, and then, of course, Mitt Romney, the junior senator. That's who I kind of detail in the book and how they've really been helping the Democrats over the past 4 or 5 years take down the president.
Yeah. Well, in this, I think, outbreak, too, of the pandemic, the COVID-19 virus, I mean, they've kind of jumped on board on that sense as well, being the ones that are right along with Democrats criticizing him that he's not handling the virus appropriately, that we're not doing the mandatory mask wearing nationwide. I mean, they've really gotten on the board of he just can't do anything right, and they've really kind of been, I'd like to say, brainwashed by the media. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. I mean, they've definitely taken full advantage of the coronavirus crisis. I mean, I have some criticism how the president handled it, too. I think he took some bad advice from people who didn't know what they were talking about. But they've definitely exploited that, the consequences of the economic lockdown, and now, of course, the race war. And so they're hoping that, what, 4 or 5 months ago, high approval ratings, the economy was swinging right, he looks like a lot for re-election. They're hoping to capitalize on all of this tragedy, really, Joe Biden in the White House.
Yeah. We're talking with Julie Kelly. She is the author of Disloyal Opposition, also a senior contributor to American Greatness, and also been a writer with the Federalist, National Review, and other pieces as well. The phone's still a little choppy, which is unfortunate because this is really great information. I want to ask where this whole time, this whole 4 years, the investigations with Trump with Russian collusion and now with the virus, and has there been any time during this whole deal, the nomination of federal judges, has there been any time during this process in the 4 years of President Trump's administration where they've actually agreed with Trump and actually sided with him? Or have they been on the other side majoritively with Democrats for every issue that's been made public by the media, every major thing that Trump's been a quote-unquote scandalous individual for over the last 4 years? Has there been any time where we've actually united under Trump with these individuals?
No, there really hasn't been. The only time that there was a small consensus, a brief consensus, was during the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation, when obviously the Democrats unleashed their character assassination on Brett Kavanaugh. So there were a few Never Trumpers who came out in defense of not really the president, but of Kavanaugh. But otherwise, no. They were all in on Russian collusion. They were, in fact, the first perpetuators of the Russian collusion hoax. They were all in on impeachment. They wanted people to vote for Democrats in 2018. You just go down the list of anything Trump has tried to accomplish, whether it's trade, whether it's getting our troops back home, whether it's dealing with China. It doesn't matter what it is. They are, and it's not principled, they are just on the opposite side of Trump and the Republicans, no matter what.
Which is really sad, even within the Republican Party, because we have an election where we hear leaders in Congress on both the House and the Senate saying we need to have a majority in the House, we need to have a majority and maintain a majority in the Senate. But at the same time, we've seen a lot of PAC money come out to different Senate races, different House races across the nation. PAC money coming from Republicans and that are run by individuals like Mitch McConnell that are actually attacking conservatives that are pro-Trump in the primary elections across the nation. If they're funding those, I don't see how they can be advocating for maintaining a Republican majority if they're going after their own conservative constituents or even new candidates rising up.
Well, I think the Senate Republicans have acted shamefully. I think they should hang their heads and how they advocated, how they
I think we lost you, Kelly. I hate it, Julie. I think we lost you with the phone. It's cutting out pretty bad there, but we got to take a break anyways. We'll see if we can't get you back on there. If not, we're going to reschedule. I want to get you back on the program because I think it's really great information. So we got to take a break anyways. It is the Voice of Reason. There's a lot to get to today, and I guess it opens up opportunity for us to talk about some other things as well. But Disloyal Opposition with Julie Kelly. Make sure to check out that book and the Never Trumpers. We've had some conversations about it here in the last few days, so we'll go ahead and do that here in a little bit. Plus, I want to get into election as well, because is there going to be disruption of the election? Both sides, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, have been preparing litigation for what the results are going to be with the results of the election. Both of them saying potentially it's going to be rigged. Both of them saying potentially that it's going to be in the favor of the other one and that it's going to be unfair. Now you see Joe Biden coming out and making threats to remove Trump from office. You hear Hillary Clinton saying it just a while ago. You've also heard now Nancy Pelosi come out and threaten. I think they're setting a precedent, and I think they're preparing to either lose the election knowing they're going to lose it or rig the election to where they win it, and then they try and blame it on Donald Trump for not being removed from office. So that way they can pass on the blame, right? They can pass it on because that's what they do oh so well. So we'll get into that here in a little bit as well. What a bummer. Disloyal Opposition. Make sure to go check out the book. Julie Kelly, we appreciate the time with what we had on that one. All right, we'll take a break. We'll get your thoughts with all this. You can leave a comment on all of our social media. We have the chat going on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Podbean Live, plus the website at HoosierReason.com. It's a Monday. Let's just roll with it and do what we can. What do you say?
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, it's Andy Hoosier with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HoosierReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HoosierReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HoosierReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HoosierReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HoosierReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe to any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hoosier Media Network, visit us on the website at HoosierReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
You know, sometimes you just got to sit back and chuckle a little bit. It's a Monday. Welcome into it. It's the Voice of Reason. Great to have you along for the ride today. It was funny. I don't know if you had a chance to listen or not, or if you do listen to the program, Armed American Radio with Mark Walters, but I was a guest on that program today, and we were having some technical issues there as well. Like I said, especially when you're in radio, there are so many things in the radio industry that can go wrong, so many little quirks that just a tiny little thing can make everything sound weird. And as a seasoned professional radio host, you just roll with the punches, baby. You just do what you can, and you just make it happen, and you just adapt as you go, and that's what we're best at. So welcome in. Great to have you along for the ride as we're on radio, TV, live streaming, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, also online at HoosierReason.com with the website. Make sure to go and check it. We had a crazy week last week. We had like a 4,000% increase with people hitting the website. So thank you for that. That's awesome. Podcasts are going up, so you can chat, you can listen, and we're on all of your different podcasting platforms, no matter which one that you personally enjoy. Really sad that we couldn't chat more with our guest, Julie Kelly. We'll get her back on the program once we get some things worked out and the kinks worked out of the system, and we'll talk more about the Never Trumpers because I think it's an important information. I am all about the Republican unity. Now, here's the problem, is that Republicans are kind of like libertarians, but libertarian light. We have our own ideas, which is why we're not all uniform, just stand in line, just take our orders and just have our marching orders and go do our thing. That's not what we're about. That's why we're conservative. We're about the individual, wicked, wild, free thinkers, man. It's what we do. And that's why it's hard for us to organize at the federal level and a national level. We're better than libertarians because libertarians have such a wide, weird umbrella, they don't even know what they stand for. Like, they don't even know what their mission is, what their mission statement is for a party because I get it. They're so wicked, wild, free thinkers that they just don't want to work with others at many times. So I respect it. At the same time, it doesn't work well when you're trying to organize a political party for a larger voice with mass amounts of numbers in order to have your voice heard. Republicans, we do a little bit better than them, but we still are way behind what Democrats are. And like I said, I'm all about the primaries, beating yourself up and beating each other up because that's how we evolve and we challenge each other's ideas. Listen to a Democrat debate, not this year because this year's been weird. They're desperate. They think that whoever's going to get the nomination is going to win Donald Trump and beat Donald Trump by a landslide. So they've been a little more vicious this year, but that's why you see such a wicked tear in the Democrat Party as well. But listen to 4 years ago, listen to 8 years ago. They weren't like this. They were all about yeah, I agree with you. I just want to do it a little bit different way, but we're all in for it. And at the end of the day, we realize the Democrat or the Republican is the worst thing in the entire world. And we can never let George W. Bush get another year of office. We can never let Donald Trump get another year in office. And that's the way they debate. Republicans, we get nasty. We're the drunken Irish guy coming out of a pub ready to take some swing at each other outside in the parking lot. That's what we do as a Republican Party, and I say kudos to us. The problem is that usually after you take a few swings at each other in the parking lot, then you come in and you pat each other on the back and you buy each other a pint because that's what you do. Republicans have a hard time doing that. It gets so personal. It gets so vicious and brutal that at the end of the day, I'm saying I can never support that guy. He's a jerk. Remember how vicious it got with Ted Cruz and Donald Trump? Remember how brutal that got? And a lot of Ted Cruz supporters had a very difficult time getting on board with Donald Trump. Remember that? Oh, it got personal. They started taking shots at each other's wives. Donald Trump sent a tweet saying that Ted Cruz's wife wasn't very pretty. And then Ted Cruz got really upset, rightfully so. And it just got pretty vicious. And then they had to calm down. And then eventually Ted Cruz ended up endorsing Donald Trump and saying we need to unite as a party, move forward. And it's not about me. It's not about me personally. It's about us as a party moving forward to beat Hillary Clinton because that's how important this actually is. It took some time. And a lot of people called him a sellout when he did it because it was so personal. But at the end of the day, it's politics, and that's the way Donald Trump is. He's a New Yorker. Nothing's left out on the table. Everything's on the table. Nothing's left in the hands. He's not holding any cards back. He lays it out because he's a New Yorker. He's a loudmouth New York guy, and that's the way they roll. There's nothing wrong with it. just a little bit different flavor from some of us here in the middle of the country. In flyover nation, we're not used to that kind of talk because to us, that's like, hey, them's fighting words. All right, I want to shift gears a little bit when we come back. Bottom of the hour news coming. When we come back, we have a lot to get to. We'll try and cram as much of it in as we can today on a Monday here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hoosier Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hoosier Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HoosierReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hoosier Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hoosier Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosierholic by going to HoosierReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hoosier with The Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hoosier Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HoosierReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hoosier with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Yes, you are, and we appreciate it very much. Where we cram 10 pounds of reason into a 5-pound bag, where we try to rebrand the millennial generation one radio listener at a time. Welcome into the Voice of Reason on a Monday evening. Great to have you along for the ride today as we continue to try and somewhat break down the news in a common sense, reasonable fashion the best we possibly can. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting online at HoosierReason.com. Make sure to check it all out, and thank you. So I don't know what the fascination is other than just entertainment value, but real quickly, I don't know, people like, Andy, come on. Don't pay attention to this guy. I know, but I can't get away from it, and it's all over, and they jam it in your face all the time. But Kanye West, running for president, apparently is on the campaign trail. Or he's just doing concerts, or he's I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why we even care. However, he did say something interesting now, according to thesun.com, where maybe this will create some type of conversation nationally. And if I know it's a touchy subject, but when it comes to the issue of abortion, there's a new story out that said that he would be at peace if his wife, Kim Kardashian, divorced him after he claimed the couple considered aborting their first daughter, North, which I thought was the weirdest name, North, and then his last name West, Northwest. It's weird. I don't know. Hollywood celebrity thing, who knows? But apparently they had talked about aborting their child, and then he said in his speech, in his very emotional speech, and you see the picture of him being very emotional, crying, saying that he saw black and white when the news came, and that he called up his girlfriend and said, no, we need to keep this child. We're not going to kill my daughter. And he's become very religious, obviously. People have to pay attention to Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. But apparently now saying that he's okay if they get a divorce. Now, I don't know why we really care, but he did bring up an interesting conversation to maybe at least reach a new demographic of individuals that normally don't talk about serious social issues like that. So maybe he's got a purpose. I mean, the ones that believe in, some of us that believe in some of the divine intervention when it comes to politics, and like Donald Trump getting in right in the nick of time to save some things, maybe that's what's going on here. Who knows? Kanye West is a little crazy. He did come out with his religious album, and it was like #1 on the charts for a while. So he's done obviously very well. He's not going to win presidency, and the scandal or the conspiracy of him breaking ties with Trump to run to try and take votes away from Biden to help out Trump at the end of the day because they're still actually really buddies. That's still floating around. I don't know whether it's true or not, but why do we pay attention to this guy? I just find it fascinating. And maybe he can at least, if nothing else, I'm always a glass half full kind of guy. If nothing else, he can at least bring awareness to a difficult conversation for individuals that normally don't sit and actually think about these things. Maybe that's a positive for us. I don't know. I think it's interesting. What I am concerned about is how the Democrats are planning to openly sabotage President Donald Trump in this election. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but things are a little bloody right now. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but things are just a little bit tense. Democrats are literally saying that Donald Trump will lose this election and that, they're certain, they are bold. He will lose this election, and there are now 3 Democrat leaders, Democrat establishment leaders within the party that have threatened to physically have to remove Donald Trump from office because they've painted this picture that Donald Trump is this radical Nazi fascist dictator leader that will not remove from office, that he will cry that the election was rigged. He will claim that the election actually wasn't real and that he will refuse to leave office and that they will have to have the military come in and actually physically remove him. This is the painted picture that they're making right now. Now, remember, they tried to do that in 2016 as well. If they remember, they asked Donald Trump then, if the election does not come back in your favor, will you actually abide by it? Because they knew for certain that Hillary Clinton would win that election. He had a 2% chance of winning on election day, and they knew for certain that Donald Trump would lose, and they were afraid of him claiming the voter fraud to rig the election. Then when he did win, they claimed the voter fraud because it was Russian collusion. They claimed the voter fraud and interference with our election, which is why he won, because there was no way that he could possibly win. So why didn't you say you'd agree? Why didn't you accept it? Why didn't you say you'd accept the results the entire time during the general election? And then boom, we didn't win. You had voter fraud. You had interference from a foreign nation with Russia, and therefore that's why you're in office. We're not going to accept it. You're not our president, and we're going to trash you, slander you, and attack you viciously this entire 4 years until the next election when it's going to be rigged if you win it. But if not, then why didn't you accept the election? Can you imagine the convolution that goes on in people's heads that actually believe this garbage? Now, because of this, let's put on the tin hats here, the aluminum foil hat for just a second. If you believe the election could be altered because of the COVID-19 virus and the mail-in ballots that many are pushing for, and they say there's no way that can be any type of shenanigans, there's no way that it could be corrupted, there's no way that it could be manipulated, which is what they say. If that's the case, then why are we so concerned about voter identities and actually trying to verify individuals when they vote? Because we've had cases, what was it? It was in Georgia, wasn't it, where they had Stacey Abrams, who, by the way, lost, and she claimed that she should have won. But even with them finding random boxes of mail-in ballots in the trunk of people's cars, she still lost by like 30, 40, 50,000 votes in the state of Georgia for the governor's race. And she still didn't accept the fact that she lost. And now she's going to be potentially one of Joe Biden's potential running mates in this election. So the Democrats have done everything in their power to try and say that the election is rigged unless they actually win it. And then why don't Republicans just accept the fact that they actually lost, right? With both sides going up in arms here. And they just asked Donald Trump, by the way, about the election as well. And he said, no, I'm not going to. It's too early to tell. And why do you ask me these dumb questions? I'm not going to accept the terms of the election, just like I didn't last time, because this is ridiculous. Now, we have both sides building up legal preparation, getting attorneys ready for the election. What's going to happen in this election? No matter, get ready for this. Here's my prediction. No matter what happens, whichever side wins, which Donald Trump's going to win, in my opinion, unless they do some massive shenanigans to rig that election, in my opinion. We'll see how it pans out. Regardless of which side it is, there will be immediate litigation for automatic recounts. There will be immediate litigation for a potential secondary vote. And I know that's drastic because I don't think we've ever had something like that, to actually go and vote for the president a second time because the numbers didn't count. But I think that could potentially happen in this election. Let me tell you why. If Donald Trump wins, after Nancy Pelosi, that just came out and said that Trump needs to be fumigated out of the White House because he's not going to leave by himself, with Hillary Clinton going on a comedy show and saying that he's going to need to be physically removed from office because he's a tyrant and he won't leave office. And now with Joe Biden coming out and saying that he's absolutely convinced that the military will need to escort Trump from the White House if he loses and refuses to leave. There are now 3 political leaders on the Democrat side that are setting the narrative for Democrats to put it in their mind and their psyche that Donald Trump is some type of crazy radical dictator that will not leave office, and they're going to have essentially a revolution on their hands. Because that's what it is. When we change powers on the political side, president-wise, we hand off power. And it's one of the most bizarre, I think, misunderstood ceremonies that we have. We are literally handing the free world from one person to another willingly without taking it by force. Democrats are now advocating for a literal revolution by saying if we lose this election or if we win and we don't think that it's corrupt, we're going to physically remove him from office. Meaning for the first time in U.S. history, we would have a revolution by forcefully removing someone as the leader of the free world. One of the leaders. We're not supposed to have a leader because we have a three-branch government that's supposed to have checks and balances, but you get the point. We don't see it really that way anymore, do we? They've all set this standard. If Donald Trump wins, Joe Biden's automatically going to put in the litigation saying it's a rigged election, that we had Russian collusion again, that it wasn't right. If the other side wins, Donald Trump's going to put in that litigation saying it's a rigged election because of mail-in voter ballots and because of the rigged system, because we don't have actual voter registration in many states. It's very loosey-goosey. Many illegals have been able to vote. The registration logs are messed up in states all over the country because people moving, people not unregistering, people that are actually registered that are deceased and haven't been taken off the voter logs yet. And all of a sudden, poof, there they go. They voted Democrat with a mail-in ballot. Crazy how that works, right? If you don't believe me, you can watch Judicial Watch, which we had a lot of their audio on the show many times before, talking about how just one county in California has something like 950,000 registrations on the books that should not be there, from illegal aliens, from deceased individuals, and from people that have moved out of the county. 950,000 illegal registrations that could potentially be voting in the election. They've rigged elections for a long time. But get ready. This is going to be the year of litigation. No one will be happy. No one will be accepting the election if their party loses, which is a really sad position to be in, because for the first time, we may have a situation where some may try to physically take power away from somebody else in the United States. Now, ideologically, that's a very scary position, but we've never been in a position like that. We've had threats. It's never actually happened. Is it going to happen this time? I hope to God not. Which my resolution to this, my fix to this, and we'll talk on this more when we come back from the break, because we got to take a break in a second, is the Electoral College. Yeah, the Electoral College. That could solve it. Not just the Electoral College we have right now, but an extension, a deeper investment in the Electoral College to make it as fair and to reinforce the idea that we're not a democracy with just majority rule 51 over the 49% majority rule, the mob-like mentality, but a true representation in a constitutional republic with a republic form of government where we have true representation. If we go back to that and we go deeper into it, we could solve this issue and wouldn't have a problem. We'll do that when we come back. It's the Voice of Reason. It's a Monday. Let's have a little fun today. What do you say? Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hoosier Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hoosier Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HoosierReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HoosierReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HoosierReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HoosierReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hoosier with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hoosier Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HoosierReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosierholic by going to HoosierReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HoosierReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hoosierholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Yes, you are. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. We're getting a lot of comments from individuals. Andy, it's just sad, the state of politics that we're in today. It really is sad, isn't it? It's sad when we can't trust it, when we can't have our system run, that we trust the system and that regardless of what the outcome is, we just accept it and be like, all right, that's what it is, because we know and we're sure that it's actually a verified system. It's sad that we've gotten to that point with both sides building up the litigation. So here's the solution. We don't just expose the problem, but we actually try to resolve it with some kind of solution, right? That's what we do. That's why we're reasonable. That's why we're commonsensical, because there's a simple solution, and it's called the Electoral College. Why do you think Democrats want to get rid of the Electoral College and go the national popular vote? Because it doesn't matter if there's shenanigans, doesn't matter if there's illegal registrations, doesn't matter if illegals vote, doesn't matter if anybody votes that they're not supposed to, doesn't matter if felons vote, doesn't matter if you're not registered. You can do same-day registration, whatever you want to do. Just go and cast that ballot. And by the way, if you do two or something, that's fine. We've had cases here in the Wichita area where they've actually bussed from one location to another, at least the rumor. There was cases that were actually in the news of New York City doing the same thing, bussed from one place to another, paid for, by the way, by campaigns, the campaigns themselves. Here we've had people have come in with the ballot on who to vote for laminated for them because they couldn't speak English and didn't know who to vote for. Who do you think gave them those? There's serious issues we need to address. And the fact that they want to get rid of get rid of the Electoral College and push for a national popular vote means all you have to do is get that 51%, regardless of how. It doesn't matter. The ends justify the means, and we've come to the point where we have the majority, we have the 51%, and we win, so you'll never get your position back ever again. That's what Democrats want because they know how easy it is to manipulate a system like that, as opposed to an Electoral College system, which they say doesn't properly represent everybody, but that's absolutely not true because it gives everybody a voice. That's why, by the way, we started a civil war in this nation. Yes, slavery and racism had a little bit to do with it, obviously, but you realize the rest of the reason why we started the Civil War? The South having a smaller population of individuals, not having proper representation in Washington, D.C., and at that time, and not being able to really have a voice, not having enough votes to be able to help choose the president of the United States. Number-wise, statistically, they could not win. There's nothing they could have done to win. The North had all the voices, had all the power, had all the say, had all the votes, and they were choosing the elections. The South felt like they were isolated, so they said, the heck with you, we're going to start our own nation. If we do a national or popular vote, that's what would happen again. And it's almost like they want that, as opposed to something like the Electoral College. And if you're not familiar with how the Electoral College works, it works differently in each state, whether it's the popular vote on the state, the popular vote based on the district. I love, and I've told this many times before, we need to get, it's been a while since we've had him on. We had an expert on this from Colorado, actually, to talk about it, but we need to get him back on to talk about the electoral process in Colorado, where you don't vote for the candidate, you vote for someone who's going to represent you in that district, who's a party leader that says, vote for me as a delegate, and I'll vote for the candidate of X, Y, and Z. Vote for me, and I'll be able to cast my vote for them. The more local you can do on the Electoral College, the better representation you're going to have. And the less, by the way, there is opportunity for manipulation of the system. There's a whole nother realm that they don't even talk about there. If we do an Electoral College at the state level for governor's races, Secretary of State's races, lieutenant governor's races, whatever states do, for some states it's different for each state on how they elect their statewide offices. If you do that, then you wouldn't have issues with the Electoral College. You wouldn't have opportunity for places to be marginalized or discredited or not be counted because they don't have a high enough population. And if you do that on a national grand scale with the local Electoral College, you would get rid of the manipulation because the local county election officers would have a much better chance of being able to count the ballots and be able to get the delegation and be able to give it to the Electoral College to vote than it would be on a national grand scheme. But we want the national grand scheme, everything. We want everything to go national. We want everything to go federalized. We want everything to go centralized, according to the left, because they know the opportunity for shenanigans. Do you know where all the money goes in the federal budget? Perfect example. Do you know where all the money goes in the federal? Every dollar. Do you know where it all goes? No, of course not. Trillions of dollars. We have no idea where it goes. And then we squabble about a couple $100 million here, a couple $100 million there, which is a lot of money for us. But at the end of the day, for the federal government, it's pocket change. We don't know where it goes. And they have the opportunity to squeeze in those special interests, squeeze in those porculous spending, and we don't even know about it. Now take that grand scale and put it on a national grand election and see how crazy that system is. The electoral system and the Electoral College is what's saving us so far. We cannot let that go to the wayside, and we need to reinforce it and build upon it and grow it even more so than what it is today. That does it for us today on a Monday. Back at it tomorrow. We have a heck of a long list of guests for you this week. You're not going to want to miss it. Great conversations. Thanks to you hanging out. Podcast going up in just a little bit as well. Radio, TV, live streaming. Make sure to check us out at HoosierReason.com. Until then, be your own voice of reason. This is the Voice of Reason. Everybody have a great evening. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HoosierReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.